now, such a special treat. This weekend in Las Vegas, a defining moment when it comes to entertainment. And I'm speaking of one of the greatest bands in musical history. We're talking about Boston. Hit after hit and a unique sound all its own. Well, they're coming to Las Vegas this weekend, one night only, at the downtown Las Vegas Events Center. And I mean, this is such the show to be at. And right now, what a special treat for all of you heading into Vegas for the weekend. We've got one of the super talented members of Boston with us right now. Gary Pihl's here. And Gary's been such an important part of the band. Prior to that, of course, he worked with Sammy Hagar. They were in a band together. And right now, all the buzz is about Boston in Vegas. This tour, this is the 40th anniversary, right? And I mean, with that, that's a huge, well, not only is it a huge gift for all of the fans out there, but it also is just a huge historical marker with this music and this great, great artistry.
Well, thanks so much. Yeah, of course, Andy Warhol said you only get 15 minutes of fame. so we're pretty fortunate to be here 40 years later.
And tell me what it's like playing. And first of all, let's talk about the tour, because you're coming to Vegas, downtown Las Vegas Event Center, and that's this Friday night. And a huge event downtown, going to be rocking downtown here in the summer. But before we get to all the details on that night, tell us what the tours involve. What other towns have you covered, and where have you been?
Oh, yeah, as you say, we're about 25 shows into it, so I don't know that I could list exactly all the towns, but I'll say at least that we started in Florida in April and been working our way west.
And what's the response been like? I mean, because, of course, Boston is known as a band that plays, in giant arenas, and I mean, the history of the band everywhere. So what's the reception like for you out there?
It's been terrific, and again, the fact that we get people that have seen us 40 years ago, but also a whole bunch of young people that definitely were not alive in 1976 when the first album came out. So it's been a wonderful thing to be able to look in the audience and see such a range of people out there.
And tell me about your history inside the band, like how long you've been actually doing this with Boston. Yes,
well, I've actually been on every Boston tour, but on the first two, I was in the opening act.
No kidding. That's wild.
That is because I was playing with Sammy Hagar.
Oh, my goodness.
At the end of the first Boston tour, Sammy's manager knew Boston's manager, and we got to open up, again, the end of their first tour. They liked us, and they said, you guys should open up the entire second tour for us. And that's just what we did, all around the country. So people come to see us now, and they say, hey, I saw you in 78 or 79. I said, well, yeah, I was there, but I was there opening act. Yeah, I know, you were playing with Sammy Hagar. It was great. We loved the show. And
how cool.
So then, in 85, when Sammy got the call to join Van Halen, Tom Scholz from Boston called me and said, hey, would you come back here and help me record the last song to be recorded on the Third Stage album? And so I did that, and after working with him for a couple of weeks, I said, do you want to move back here? We'll finish the record. We'll go on tour. We'll see what happens. And here I am 30-something years later.
Wow. How awesome is that? And so your rise in the music industry within this band, and then, of course, all the other, work that you've done. What is the highlight so far within the band for you? Like, what's the big brass ring moment here?
It's every night. Walking on stage, looking out in the audience, seeing people smiling and singing along. I tell you, I get choked up. It's just such a wonderful feeling.
Yeah. And so now tell us about, like, obviously, I could imagine that you are going to be playing all the great hits, right? I mean, you're going to be delivering all of the great Boston classic hits that we remember and love so much.
Absolutely. And, of course, because it's the 40th anniversary of that first album, we'll certainly be playing a lot of those songs. But we're also going to throw in songs, of course, from the other albums and some deep cuts that people write to us and say, gee, you should play this one. You haven't done this for a while. And so we'll, throw in some of those. And maybe even a song from our latest CD, Life, Love, and Hope.
Nice. And so the latest CD, what's it like, the music and the evolution from then till now? I mean, does it feel like it's that same sort of sound that we expect? I mean, there's always something so signature about your music.
Yes. How a Boston song is, you first hear the guitar riffs or something, go, that sounds like Boston.
Yeah.
and That's just what the new album is too. So yeah,
nice.
People definitely recognize it and have really liked the new stuff. So that's a wonderful feeling too.
Now, what about like playing live too? Just like some of these songs, okay, and of course everyone knows I call it your anthem, and I'm sure everyone does. More Than a Feeling. I mean that song is just it's become something so special within everyone's life. And all the songs, though, like Amanda and Rock and Roll Band, the list goes on and on. You have so many hits. So is there a favorite that you enjoy playing right now? I mean, because I know that must change, but when you're playing live, is there a favorite song you have?
Well, you're right. It's great to play the songs that everybody's familiar with and, again, can sing along with, and that's wonderful. But the song I actually enjoy playing a lot is Walk On. That's the title song from our fourth album.
Yeah.
It's a long song, and it's actually kind of hard to play, but we all get a chance to improvise in that one. So you never know what you're going to get from night to night. So that's always a lot of fun.
Walk On. That's cool. Well, should we play some of that? I want to play some of your music on the show, so you tell me what song we could put out there.
That's certainly a good one. Again, it's a long song.
Well, no, we'll put a little bit out of there, but of course we're having More Than a Feeling in some of the other signature hits, sewn within this interview, because you can't, how can I interview with not doing that? I mean, that wouldn't be fair of me either.
Well, thanks. Yeah.
What about Las Vegas? Tell me about that town and Boston's history there. I don't remember hearing too many concerts of Boston coming in. That would be a huge deal hearing that.
Yes, we've been there a few times over the years, but you're right. For whatever reason, scheduling or this or that, we can't get there on the day that the venue is open, that sort of thing. It's always logistics. You just can't drive the truck, 1,000 miles in 8 hours time to get there to get the equipment there. So we somehow missed it a few times. So we're really looking forward to getting back there.
Well, I know there's so much buzz in this town about this concert, and of course happening at the downtown Las Vegas Event Center Friday night. And then I've got to bring up also a very cool special guest that you have as well. And that's Dennis DeYoung, founding member of Styx. He'll also be a special guest that night, too. So this is going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, yes. He's been on about half a dozen shows with us here this year, and we got at least another half a dozen more with him. And man, he and his band are terrific. They just play the old Styx stuff and
nice.
Just sounds fantastic. And he's singing better than ever. I mean, I didn't think, you hear that voice singing those songs and go, oh, my gosh, there it is.
Right. It's
terrific.
And what's it like, with the I guess the challenges of the vocals for Boston? I mean, I always think that would be like such a challenging job because of the band itself. Excuse me. Because of all the hits and the certain sound it has. It has such a perfect sound, I would say.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we really take pride in the vocal stuff, and of course, we're all singing those live. So if you hear a mistake, that's really us making that mistake.
No one's going to hear that. You're like the perfectionist. If it's a mistake in your mind, it goes right past us. But I've got to ask you about Tom and about that. Just if you can give a little bit of his background for some of our listeners that they're heading to Vegas right now for the weekend and to see your show after they hear this, I'm sure. But about just the kind of the origination of the band, because it's a very interesting story. Can you give us sort of the short version of Tom and the background about how he MIT and Polaroid and that sort of thing?
Sure. Somebody asked me to describe Tom in 4 words. I said, 4 words? Geez, okay, well, smartest guy I know.
Ah, nice.
And so, yeah, he went to MIT and then started working at Polaroid and started writing songs and recording in his basement there in Boston. And that became the first album. And, of course, at the time, nobody recorded at home. You had to go to a real recording studio and spend a lot of money to do that. But he said, well, look, I'm going to just buy this equipment and do it myself.
Wow.
And he did. And again, it became the biggest debut-selling album ever.
That's amazing. Yeah.
So, and of course, when they put together those lists of the 100 greatest guitar players of all time, Tom's always on there. But he's also on the list of 100 greatest keyboard players of all time. And there's nobody else in the world that's on both of those lists.
That's wild. And correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't he learn to play guitar like later on in life? It wasn't even like something he'd been doing since he was a kid or anything.
That's right. Yeah, he started on keys and then picked up guitar later.
That's wild.
And of course, designed the amplifiers that we're still using today. And of course, terrific songwriter. engineer, producer. Yeah, he's a really special guy. It's a real education.
Yes, and so for those listening that may not, so out there that may, musicians that are listening as well, the Rockman and the Power Soak, that's his inventions, right? I mean, he made those. Wild.
That's exactly right, yeah. When the first Rockman came out, again, it's the size of a peanut butter sandwich or whatever, and you plug your guitar in and use headphones, and the sound that it made, when you first plugged in, you go, oh my God, how did they get that sound out of this little bitty box?
Wow.
So, and then other musicians, of course, have used it for recording. We always used to say from A to Z, from Alabama to ZZ Top, Jeff Beck and Paul McCartney, on and on and on. People that have used that to make recordings with as well.
How that's awesome. And it's such a great story. And then, of course, it brings us back to the sound of Boston and why that's so unique. And you can realize that the painstaking genius that was involved here. And when I say that, again, you can correct me if I have the story a little wrong, but didn't he really just painstakingly went before he released that album, figuring out the sound and everything that had to be put together. Is that how it happened?
Absolutely, yeah. He certainly takes his time to do it. Wants to get it right, and so and that really shows up actually to this day in the concert. So we'll do a long sound check to make sure the sound is right for absolutely everybody in the audience, and so he's just got, of course, great ears and really knows what he wants to hear as a concert goer. So if I'm sitting in that seat there, I want it to sound perfect, and so we do our best to make that happen.
That's so cool. And I can't wait for this. I'm going to be seeing the show. I can't wait to see you perform live. This is going to be incredible. What a treat. And it's all happening this Friday night, July 15th, and it's a 40th anniversary tour. Now, are you midway through the tour, or do you have a lot more to go still?
Yeah, we're about halfway through, so we're doing 50-something shows in 100-something days.
Oh, my gosh. So,
It's insane. So they're keeping us on our toes.
Wow. So do you travel by bus or something, or by plane? I'm just curious of the behind the scenes, how that works.
Yeah, mostly bus, but every once in a while, if the distance is too far, we'll take a plane.
Yeah. And I mean, we're talking, again, just what an honor. Over 31 million records sold to date, and they just continue on and on. Boston, I mean, what a great treat to have you on. Thank you so much.
Hey, well, thank you for having us here, and we're looking forward to the show.
The great Gary Pihl. Thanks so much, Gary. And again, get your tickets now. Boston, this Friday, one night only in Vegas. They're coming in for one night only, and they're gone after that. We've got a whole lot more coming up on Bart Torres on the Highway 5.